Hello, hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good day. So I want to welcome you to our webinar today on executive communication and, of course, social fluency. We are actually going to talk about speaking up with meetings, even with an accent, and speaking up in meetings in general, right? How do we do that? And I'm really excited to share the content that I have with you today, as always. So I would love for you to interact using the interactive chat that you have in your right-hand navigation bar. It's a great opportunity for you to ask questions, to share your own opinions and insights, any experience that you want to share as, a professional, as an international modern executive. And I'm going to share a little bit about sort of my background as well, so that you know a little bit about me as well. And I know that some of you might have come from our YouTube channels. Some might have come from the podcast. So whatever brings you here, welcome, welcome. And I'm so delighted that you're carving out this time now to invest in yourself and to invest in your future as well. So I am an executive communication coach. I have been doing this for about 20 years now. I work with internationals, I work with executives and professionals and rising leaders and leaders who are interested in improving their communication skills, their executive communication skills, as well as their social fluency. Because in business, to excel, we need both. We need to know how to navigate interpersonal communication and be able to communicate with others in a clear, concise way. But we also need to be able to, have that executive presence so that we can drive impact, we can lead teams, we can put ourselves out there, we can get the jobs we want, we can land the jobs we want, excel in our careers and in our futures. So that's very important, as you know. I have nearly 2 decades of experience in education, international communications, and executive communication, television, broadcasting, ed tech. 2 degrees. I have my undergrad degree in French and communication. I was a double major. And then I have 2 master's degrees, and my advanced master's degrees is from Columbia University, which you may have heard of. I also am I'm a teacher trainer, and I also train coaches. So that's another thing that I do. And I received a Fulbright grant after college, which kind of sparked my interest in incorporating cross-cultural and intercultural communication to my coaching practice, to my web courses and webinars, and my own, kind of professional skills as well. Because it's so important to have that added dimension, since we all in our intercultural global society communicate with people from all over the world, which is just an amazing thing, especially with technology being the way it is. And that brings me to explearning Academy. I am the founder and lead instructor of explearning Academy, which is a wonderful professional development network for you as somebody who wants to improve their communication skills and really accelerate your career in English-speaking markets, right? By mastering both the language as well as the professional culture, and having that understanding and mastery of social fluency, being able to communicate fluently, confidently, having the social skills in place that allows you to do this in a very confident and poised way. And so if you want to unlock your leadership potential and really stand out as a top candidate for promotions, for the jobs you want, for even starting your own business, you need to know how to communicate and present yourself and present your ideas. So that's what I do in the Academy, and it's a wonderful place to be. It's a wonderful community of professionals and executives. If you want to get ahead in your career, if you are, moving to a different country where they speak English and you're looking to improve your professional skills and have that professional polish, then you should join us. And if you're looking to, in that same kind of company that you're at, but you want to climb the corporate ladder, you want to get better and better positions, this is a place for you as well. So we boost your confidence, we boost your communication, your social fluency, and we do all of this through practical strategies, hands-on learning and coaching, and that way you become confident communicators and you drive impact as well. So a little bit about how we do that in the Academy, and I give you a little taste of that too with the webinars as well, of course. Data-driven. So everything we do is grounded in research and tailored for maximum professional impact. Like I said about the hands-on learning experience, so that you actually learn as you do, right? Interactive exercises, real-world scenarios, and real-world simulations, and getting comfortable with communicating in high-stakes, high-risk situations. But in our community, that's all very low risk, low stress. So you're able to try strategies on for size. You're able to get feedback from me and our expert coaches, and you're able to, workshop, because that's how we get better. That's how we practice. That's the name of the game. And also the feedback that we provide you to help you, address those individual needs that you have, because everyone is different, right? So we provide personalized coaching feedback. It's a collaborative environment because we have people from, yes, different backgrounds, yes, different industries, but everyone's there to improve themselves, and particularly to improve their professional skills, their communication, their social fluency, right? The social skills that we also need to excel in business, because a lot of that is not just business talk, but social interaction, creating that rapport with people, creating that trust, building a relationship where this person, you trust them, you want to do business with them, and they want to do business with you. And we've got loads of fantastic programs. We've got new challenges. We've got 5-day challenges, 10-day challenges. We've got a 33-day masterclass focused on your executive excellence. And all of our programs are designed for measurable progress. So you go in, you know what results you're going to get, you get your results, and then you take it out into the real world and you see those results in action. So what we're going to expect from today's webinar, you're going to get tools and strategies that's going to help you elevate your communication skills, practical insights that's going to help you build confidence in business communication and in social fluency, techniques so that you can enhance your professional and personal growth. And are you ready for today's class? I hope so. If you are, make sure you silence your devices so that you can give your undivided attention for the next, the time that we have together today. You can always watch the replay. And if you want the guide as well as the slides, then I suggest you join us in our community where you can get that as part of your membership as well. All right, so we are talking today, as I mentioned at the very beginning, we are talking today, my friends, about speaking up in meetings, even if you have an accent. Because you know what? Having an accent is actually a beautiful thing. We want to focus on intelligibility, which is being able to be easily understood, right? We don't want people to have to struggle with what we're saying and try to figure out, well, what did they say? What did they mean by that? We want it to be very clear, and clarity is key. But also, it doesn't matter if you have an accent, because you can still be very clear and communicative and concise, even with an accent, right? You've heard me say this before, and I firmly believe it. I speak multiple languages. Yes, I'm a native English speaker. I also studied, linguistics. And so I have that background, obviously. But when I speak my other languages, There's some languages where I don't have an accent in, and there's some where I still do have a little bit of an accent, but my goal is to be communicative, right? And that should be your goal too. Your goal should be, okay, well, can I communicate in this language? And if so, then you're golden, right? You're golden. Okay, so let's get into it. Okay, speaking up in meetings, if you have questions and if you have anything that you would like to add, I really encourage you to use the interactive chat. That's why we go live like this. That's why, you know, I like to come on here and give you an opportunity also to kind of participate, right? Of course, there's lots of benefit in coming and joining for the, well, the replays, obviously, but there's also something really nice and something to be said for hopping on here live together like we are today and being able to leverage the interactive chat, right? And that way I can answer your questions. We can communicate with each other. You can communicate with the others in the meeting, and it's really quite lovely. Okay, so we're gonna talk about strategies where you're going to, you know, gain confidence and be able to effectively share your ideas no matter your cultural or linguistic background, which is a beautiful thing. Really beautiful. Okay, so let's start by talking about, you know, overcoming this fear of speaking up, because a lot of times there's that fear. There's that, oh, well, if I say something, you know, are people going to judge me for it? Are people going to evaluate my English or my communication? And some will, some won't, but you can't let that hold you back, right? So one really important thing is actually positive self-talk, right? Just being able to replace those negative thoughts and those negative kind of feelings that you have about yourself or you have about your English, you have about your communication with some positive affirmations, some positive thinking, some positive phraseology, you know, really just focusing on your strengths, thinking about like the good things that you do, how you speak effectively when you can, you know, really, and some of the things that help us with that are obviously practice and preparation. So important to practice your crucial points beforehand, right? Practice in front of a mirror, practice with friends, come into our community, practice with us, right? This is really going to help you just feel much more confident in that moment, right? And it also really is important to be in a safe and supportive environment, right? So find people that you can ally with in your workplace, seek understanding, seek support, right? These are important things. You don't want to be in a toxic work environment, right? So really make that effort as well to kind of align yourself with people. And you can also use mindfulness and breathing to help calm your nerves before you speak. You know, find a way to ground yourself and center yourself so that you can just feel much more confident in that moment and kind of, you know, take those nerves and turn them into energy for what you want to do and how you want to perform. Okay? So obviously regular practice, we say it so many times. I say it, you know, in my channel and my videos and my lessons and the webinars. Practice makes progress, right? So regular practice is so key. And yes, you've also heard the adage, practice makes perfect. I like practice makes progress as well because it emphasizes that growth. So you want to rehearse beforehand so that you really feel super prepared. And then we said replace those negative thoughts with positive thoughts because I really want you to believe in your abilities, right? Don't let that self-doubt hold you back. A lot of times, you know, we think, oh, well, that person, you know, is you know, you might think that other people are standing in the way of your success. A lot of times it's actually you standing in your way, right, of your own success. And a lot of times that's that self-doubt. So recognize that and say, okay, well, you're your own worst enemy. Get yourself out of that kind of funk and really don't let that doubt hold you back. Seek out feedback, right? Look at areas where you can improve. And that's another thing that we do, right, with the feedback in our community, because you get that you won't normally get in interactions, because a lot of times, like, people don't feel equipped to give you feedback necessarily, particularly if it's on language or communication. So coming into a community like ours where you get that feedback that's specifically tailored to your goals and to your personal, abilities and your goals is really very, very important, right? Because that way you know what you're doing well and what you could be working on. And the other thing is to embrace that the fact that just mistakes are a natural part of the learning process. So don't see them as failures, right? Just see them as opportunities to grow and to learn, and see them as teachable moments, something that you can learn from them. And lastly, another way to develop your confidence in your communication skills is positive visualization exercises. So, sit with your thoughts for a moment, or you can write it out on a piece of paper or in a digital notepad app, anything you have where you're imagining yourself and visualizing yourself speaking confidently, speaking successfully, because this mental rehearsal, this kind of reconning ahead of time, can help boost your self-assurance when it's time to present. So you feel like you've already done that presentation and you feel good about it, right? You feel really good about it. So to do this really effectively, you want to imagine the talk, you want to imagine the interaction, and in that, the actual location that you're going to do that, right? So if you're planning to have coffee with a friend and you're a little bit nervous because you don't want to, necessarily, like, maybe you feel self-conscious about your accent, again, try not to, because again, the goal is being understood, not whether you have an accent or not. Having an accent shows that you know more than one language, which is a huge accomplishment. So visualize that scenario. You're sitting across from the table with your friend, you have your coffee, maybe you have a little treat, and your talking points, and you see yourself really engaged in a confident way. They're responding really well to you. So make it as real and engage all the senses if you can. That was going to make this visualization even stronger. And that way you're more ready for it when you hit the stage, essentially, so to speak. Okay? So when you have an accent and you're presenting in that language and you feel like you have an accent in that language, for most of you here, it might be English, right? If English is your second language, greet the audience, right? Greet them and introduce the topic, in a confident way, okay? Then you really want to focus on enunciating. So speak slower. You don't have to speak a mile a minute. You don't have to feel like, oh, if I speak fast, that will make me seem more fluent to people. It's actually quite the contrary, right? Especially when you're speaking in a second or third language that you have, you want to really focus on slowing it down so that everyone can understand what you're saying, and focus on your pronunciation. And you really want to do as much practice as you can, like I said, beforehand, just so that you feel more confident doing it. And those visualization activities that we talked about, those are really going to help as well. Try to feel good about your accent. Some people don't feel good about it, right? They feel like they're being judged for it and evaluated. Listen, we're judged and evaluated all the time, whether we like it or not, right? Whether you have an accent, whether you don't have an accent, and it's just subjective, right? There's no real rhyme or reason to why some people might, find you a certain way and others find you a different way, regardless of what image you're projecting. But you don't have control over that. What you do have control over is your confidence and how clear you're communicating, right? So I really want you to embrace your accent as part of your identity, right? It's your unique kind of footprint, and it's part of your own speaking style. So let that work to your advantage. Maybe it's part of your unique value proposition, right? Maybe it's something that makes you more memorable for people. Maybe you're more animated, right, in your way of speaking. Whatever it is, own it with pride, okay? Make it part of your assets, okay? I really encourage that, because it's going to help change your mindset about it. It's going to boost your confidence, and it's also going to let people see that, right? That confidence is going to come out, and they're going to be drawn to it, and they're going to find you more charismatic and, you know, professional and more interesting because of it. And of course, feedback, so key, because that helps us continuously improve our communication skills, which we always want to do. We always want to be able to do that. Even native English speakers, right? We have native English speakers in our community that come in because they want to get ahead in their careers. They want to have that executive presence, that professional polish, and communicate in an effective, confident way. So how do we embrace our unique voice and an accent if we have one? Right? Your accent's really part of you, okay? It enriches your communication, so don't hide it. It is a strength. It is an asset of yours. So really trying to find that confidence in your voice is what's going to get you to project that confidence. And it allows your authentic self to shine, to make it known to the world, right? And I really want you to start thinking, even if you have an accent, you have something very valuable to offer, right? You have great ideas. You have fields of experiences. You've got great insights. You've got a host of, you know, possibilities, and you want to be able to share those with people. If you don't voice, you know, share your voice with the world, and if you don't voice your insights and your opinions, no one's ever going to hear it, right? So don't be afraid to let your voice be heard. When you own your accent, people are going to see that. They're going to be, wow, this person is really confident. I'm inspired by them, right? And they know more than one language. How cool is that? I mean, it is such an amazing thing to know more than one language. It's not easy to know more than one language, right? There's a great expression, one language makes one person. 2 languages, you're 2 people. 3 languages, you're 3 people. Essentially, that's what it is. So own it, right? Own your accent, and that will help you stand out in a positive way. Okay? So remember that you have something valuable to offer. Don't be shy about it. Don't be, you know, self-conscious about it. Yes, in the beginning you might be, but overcoming that is really going to serve you well. And think about all the opportunities you'll have access to, right? If you don't speak up, maybe you don't get those opportunities. So think of it that way. What might you be missing if you're too shy to speak, or you're too concerned about your accent? So think of it that way. Okay, so unconscious biases are subtle, right? But they do have a big impact on how we perceive and how we interact with others in the workplace. And this is not something that's going to just go away, because everybody, you know, has preconceived notions. They'll have certain stereotypes in mind. They'll have their own biases. So it's really important to become aware of our own biases and challenge the assumptions that we might have about people. Just like people might have biases and opinions about us without knowing us, without getting to know us. We also have biases and assumptions that we make about others. So be aware of that, right? Be aware of that and challenge those assumptions. Diverse teams are amazing, okay? They bring different perspectives, and that can lead to better problem solving and better innovation. So the more diverse, the better. Creating inclusive environments where everybody feels safe and has that psychological safety is great, because then they can feel like they can share their ideas freely and without much judgment. And of course, you know, using objective evaluation methods and clear criteria for hiring and for promotions can also really make sure that, you know, these processes are fair and they're unbiased. So if you're in HR and you're making the decisions about who's on your team, who's getting hired, these are important things to note. And you can even do things like, providing bias awareness training and promoting the understanding of how important empathy is that can foster, more respectful dialogue in the workplace. That might be something as somebody who's making those decisions can do. So clear and concise speech, right? That's the name of the game. It's not, do you have an accent? Do you not have an accent? First of all, even native speakers have an accent, right? I speak different. I'm a native English speaker and I'm from New York, but somebody from Texas is going to have a different accent than me. Somebody from Colorado will have a different way of speaking than I do. We all have different ways of speaking, okay? And if you put other languages into the mix, then you add that extra layer of complexity. So there's no such thing really as no accent if you really think about it. So that should give you some sense of relief in a lot of ways. So when we're talking about clear and concise speech, which is what we want to aim for, especially in business, organize your thoughts, structure them logically, prioritize the most important things that you want to say. Don't leave that to the end. Don't leave that to, on your way out, oh, by the way, I want to tell you this. And it's an hour of a conversation. Prioritize those key messages. Make sure you know what the most important thing is. Use simple language. You don't have to try to impress people with big vocabulary and complex jargon or technical terms. Keep it simple. Use everyday language, right? That's going to impress people far more than using some fancy language where it actually is so nonsensical. You say, well, what are they saying? Excuse me, that just sounded like a whole bit of mumbo jumbo, right? So this is going to help that make sure that your audience understands you and it's clear. Active listening is crucial. Why? Because it shows that you're listening. It shows you've identified your audience's needs, and it helps you respond accordingly. So you tailor your message based on how they're responding, based on the feedback that they're giving you in situ, meaning in that moment, at that time, right? We're constantly picking up on cues, both verbal and nonverbal, and making sure that they're picking up what you're putting down, right? And lastly, thinking about getting feedback. You can record yourself. You can ask for some constructive criticism. This is really great. It's going to help you identify those areas for improvement. And again, we do this in our community as well. So something to think about. Very important. So consistent practice, again, it's so important. That's really key to improving your pronunciation, your articulation. So I really recommend you pencil it into your schedule. Set aside some time each day, even if it's 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Just each day you want to work on these skills. You might think about doing some tongue twisters. That's a great way to enhance articulation, right? This is going to help you. It'll challenge yourself to speak more clearly and precisely and really get used to certain mouth movements and tongue movements, especially if you're not used to that in your L1 language. Record yourself, like I said, listening back. So it's one thing to record yourself. It's another thing to listen back and to try to hear what others might be hearing, right? And putting some space between when you recorded it and listening to the replay so that you have some kind of fresh perspective, right? That will help you identify those areas for improvement and seek feedback, right? From people that you trust, friends, language instructors, communication coaches, us in the community, right? We can help you pinpoint specific pronunciation challenges and communication challenges that you can focus on because you might not be aware of them, right? So effective communication across cultures is so important in today's global environment. And it's so beautiful that we're all connected like this through, technology, through the internet, that we can meet up like this, that we are doing right now. And, I'm in one place, you're in another place, we're all over the world, we're in different time zones. And it's the same with business, right? You probably work with people who are located all over the world in different geographies. And that's just amazing. So we really want to recognize that there are diverse communication styles, and those different cultures that we bring to the table, those cultural nuances, help us engage respectfully from people with people from different backgrounds, right? Recognizing that there are going to be some linguistic and cultural background differences, and really valuing different perspectives, showing empathy, being open-minded, being flexible and adaptable, being patient, not, putting words in people's mouths, but saying, did I get that correct? Or is this what you mean? Or am I following, right? Asking for those comprehension check questions and making sure that you're on the same page as they, and being open to active listening and, building mutual understanding, and not trying to hear something that they actually didn't say, but hearing what they're saying, right? Sometimes we expect an answer and or make assumptions and we think we heard something, but then that's not practicing active listening. That's just you being imaginative and using your imagination. Whereas you really want to focus on, okay, what did the person actually say? How did they say it? And am I getting the right information here? Or am I imagining a situation or a scenario? Okay, clarify any doubts, ask those questions. This is going to help you avoid misunderstandings. It's going to help you avoid conflict, and it's going to really show you as an active listener and an effective communicator. So really being open-minded, adjusting your communication style as needed as time goes by within that interaction as well. That shows your open-mindedness, it shows your flexibility, it shows your openness, and being willing to change your mind about a situation or about people or about, an opinion that you have. All of these skills is what helps us navigate cultural differences and also collaborate effectively. And that leads to even more productive and fruitful and rewarding interactions, particularly if you're doing business with somebody and you want repeat business, and maybe you're making a sales pitch and you want that pitch to be well received. You want to land that client, you want to land that promotion, you want to land that job. So important. So how do we kind of stay composed and calm in meetings? First of all, don't underestimate the power of taking a few slow, big, deep belly breaths right before the meeting. This is going to help you calm yourself. And then if you compare that with visualization, you're golden, right? That's amazing because you've now calmed your nerves. You can feel your cortisol levels slowly on the decline. Feel that tension dissipate, and then imagine yourself succeeding in that talk, in that conversation, in that meeting, in that one-on-one coffee chat. Whatever the interaction is, right? Have that positive self-talk top of mind. Remind yourself of your strengths. Remind yourself of how capable you are, how competent you are, what value you bring to the table, what your unique value proposition is. And then in the conversation or in the meeting, whatever it is, do active listening. Make sure that you're focused on what the person is saying, how they're saying it, and you're not focused on, what you're going to say next, or if you're making a good impression, or if your hair looks good, or if your tie is on straight, or if your blazer is, unwrinkled, or whatever, right? Sometimes our mind wanders and we start getting caught up in these little kind of details that are details, just, important to a certain degree. We want to look put together and confident and poised, but you shouldn't just be, worrying about, is your manicure okay? Or how's your hairdo, right? So stay focused on what they're saying. It's going to help you stay present. It's going to help you stay engaged. And here's a little secret. It's going to help take that pressure off of yourself because again, now the focus is, okay, what are they saying? How am I going to make sure I understand this well? So it takes pressure off of yourself, which is amazing, right? You will feel way less nervous, way less self-conscious, which is super duper, right? Have some talking points ahead of time. I like to say three, right? Three main talking points. You can always add those details and those kind of sub points in between, but don't have those be the main things in your mind, because then it's going to be cognitive overload. You might get kind of bogged down by the details, and we don't want to do that. Just have your three main talking points ahead of time so that you're organized, you're prepared, you feel confident. It's not overkill. It's just three main points, okay? Of course, practice. Practice makes progress. Make sure that you know what you're going to say. You feel confident so that when it's your turn to speak, you're there and you have those three talking points in mind. It's okay if it's fewer than three. That's fine too. But you don't want to exceed three because, again, the cognitive overload, and you don't want to be rummaging through your notes and flipping through paper and say, okay, so MD, it's your turn to speak. And you're there still rummaging and trying to figure out what are you going to say. No, you have it up here and it's great. Or you have like a little maybe Post-it, right, with three little points on there. Either way, practice beforehand. That reduces anxiety, takes the nerves out of the equation, and get that deep breathing going. What's great about deep breathing is you can also do it in that moment, right? People don't notice it necessarily because we're all breathing all the time, right? We're human. So luckily we can do that. So they won't notice unless you like that, right? If you make it an exaggerated thing, well, that's different. We're not talking about that you can do ahead of time in the comfort of your own kind of private space. But don't forget to just breathe during your talk, during your presentation. Leverage your accent as a strength, right? Your accent is something that it makes you unique, which is wonderful, right? We're all, especially in the American context, it's an individualistic culture and society, and we all want to feel unique, right? We're in American society, we're kind of taught you're a unique snowflake, you're special, you are unique. And yes, absolutely, it's true. Like there's so much that we have in common that we're overlapping on. There's some of that too, but we also really emphasize everyone is so unique. And your accent is part of what makes you unique. So embrace it as a strength. Don't see it as a weakness. Don't say, oh, well, no one here has an accent, or they all speak with, a New York accent, so I have to speak with a New York accent. Look, if you want to, if that's your goal, do it. I'm not saying no, but don't let your fear of having an accent and your fear of how you're going to be perceived hold you back. Okay? Don't let that be what prevents you from sharing your ideas, sharing your amazing thoughts, going after that job, doing that interview because you feel self-conscious about your accent. That's what you don't want to do. That's what I mean about you getting in your own way, right? You're your own worst enemy. If you see your accent as an impediment, well then there's not much I can do or say that's going to help you, right? You have to get over that mindset. So again, if you want to try to get a perfect accent, whatever that means, or you want to talk like that such and such celebrity or a person from that kind of part of the world, I gave like a New York accent just as an example. Well, okay, that could be your goal. Fine. As long as it doesn't make you stand in the way of doing what you need to do. Okay. And look, as an adult language learner, you probably are going to have an accent. Okay. Unless you learn what we call learn the language in what we call the critical period. And again, the kind of as a child, right? You will not have an accent when you learn that second or third language as a child. But after a certain time, and for some people it's 14, for others is 11, for others it could be 12. It depends on different people. You'll have an accent if you learn the language at, later as an adult, more likely. Okay. That's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing, provided that you are focusing on being easily understood. And the tools that I gave you earlier in the webinar, that's going to help you. That's going to help you. Okay. But treat your accent as part of your identity. Make it something valuable. It adds richness and diversity. And it's just an incredible thing because, again, it shows that you know so many more languages. It's great. Okay. What's really cool too is that, you know, in addition to being a way of kind of showing your unique identity and your value prop, it can also provide some valuable cultural insights, which is really great for people because they learn a little bit more about your culture and where you're from. Can even help bridge gaps in understanding from people between, you know, different backgrounds and cultures. And that's what we refer to as intercultural and cross-cultural communication and understanding. And also recognize that people are drawn to unique voices. So it makes you memorable. You will stand out in their mind and even relatable. Okay. So really thinking, you know, what that means and really being happy about that kind of perspective that people have. And also, accents are assets. This is a globalized world and society. Having an accent shows that you're part of different societies and having that global experience and perspectives, and you've lived in different countries and cultures. You have different linguistic and cultural backgrounds, and that can be an asset for your personal brand as well. Again, it makes you unique. It makes you stand out. It makes you different. You're not just a cookie cutter image of everyone else, which is great. Okay, so building rapport, connecting with the audience is very important to, you know, having those ingredients for effective communication. Always, always, always remember active listening. Make sure that you're paying attention, close attention, and that you're genuinely interested about what they're having to say. And if you don't find anything they're saying interesting, then ask some questions to get some interesting answers, right? Make eye contact. This is really important, especially in the American cultural context where we need eye contact. We want to make sure people are looking at us in the eye. We want to show that there's some connection there and there's that respect. When you make eye contact with people, it shows that you respect them. Now, of course, in the online setting, that means looking in your webcam and, you know, looking at your presentation, but also in the webcam as you can, not just staring in the webcam, but, you know, showing your gaze in that place as well. Being very inclusive with our language and asking questions that shows that you are, you know, promoting mutual understanding. You're not making assumptions. You're creating a psychologically safe space for people to voice their opinions. If you see somebody, you know, shy and quiet, you might gently invite them into the conversation. So, Penelope, what do you think? Or Penelope and I were chatting and we, you know, she shared a really interesting insight. Do you mind sharing that with the group, Penelope? Right, doing it in a way that doesn't put somebody on the spot, but really just shows that you're interested in hearing their opinion. And of course, it's all in the way you do that with your body, you know, being confident and respectful as well. And of course, using inclusive language, respect all backgrounds, be, you know, flexible, try to understand people. If you don't understand people, then ask those questions that'll help you understand and be on the same page as them. Continuous learning, that's the name of the game, right? We're here to better ourselves. We're here to land the jobs we want, to start the businesses we want. We're here to become the leaders we want, be the entrepreneurs we want, be the C-suite executives that we want to be the modern executive that we want to be. So continuous learning and growth and improvement, that's how we get there, right? So ask feedback from colleagues, come into our community, get feedback from our expert coaches, come into, you know, our programs. That's going to help you really rise more rapidly. It's an acceleration, professional acceleration and skills development. Identify your weaknesses. You might not be aware of them, right? So where can you improve? What needs to be addressed? If you ignore an area of weakness, then you probably will not ever get better in that specific area. So something to keep in mind, right? Something to keep in mind, okay? Continuous practice, right? So we're constantly practicing even those small amounts. If you only have 10 minutes, take those 10 minutes. If you are on the subway, go through your flashcards or hop onto our community. We have an app, very easy to access. Come into the community, do a lesson, do a module, do a daily challenge, do a prompt, watch part of a webinar, read you know, one of our guides. Just do something, okay? Inertia is the enemy. It is, right? Build that momentum. You're going to build that momentum by creating habits. 10 minutes a day, 5 minutes a day. Make time, carve out time. Join our challenges, join our lives. Okay, see challenges as learnings, as opportunities to grow. They're not obstacles to overcome. They're part of the process. It shows you that, okay, look, I took a risk, failed on that. That's okay. It's a challenge. Now I'm excelling. Now I succeed. Okay, so it's a teachable moment. Having that growth mindset, right? So it's so key. We want to practice often. We want to change the way we look at challenges. We want to be really adamant about continuously learning and growing, not just saying, oh, okay, well, I mastered that. Awesome. Yay me. And then what? Is that it? Is that the end? No. There's always something to improve. Always. Okay. So lots of things we talked about today. Lots of things. And I really encourage you to watch the replay. We have some questions in the chat, I think. So let me get to those. Caddy says, live class in the program also this time. Yeah, we absolutely do sessions this time, Caddy. You can come and do our free trial, and you can, sample what we have for a whole week, and then, see if it works with your schedule. We also have the self-paced part of it as well. So you can do that whenever you need, regardless of your time zone. But our lives typically end up being around this time. So if you were able to join this, then you'll be able to join our other live sessions. And we always have a recording. So even if you weren't able to join, let's say you had a meeting, an appointment, or something came up, you can always join us in the replay and then interact in the comment section and in the chat as well. So yeah, live classes also this time. Good, good, good. So any other questions or comments? What are one of the strategies that you're going to take with you this week? I'm so curious. On Monday, I went live and I talked about we start every Monday with a Monday mindset and a little challenge that I give you for the week that you practice, you get the whole week to do. So this one was about looking at a situation from different perspectives, right? So on Friday, we're going to come together as a group for those in the community, and we're all going to be on a call together. And it's also a great networking opportunity and place to kind of talk to people and make friends and network, and also share what you learned this week and how you applied the strategies that I shared. So it's a wonderful opportunity. On Friday, we're going to be doing that. Every Friday, it's like that as well. So that's basically it from me, unless you had some questions. I'm delighted to answer those now. Like I said, our community is perfect for you if you want to excel. It's an acceleration with your professional skills, your personal growth, your communication, first and foremost, your professional polish, being able to, excel in your interviews, have your meetings go the way you want them, land the clients you want. If you are in transition, if you're moving jobs and you're hoping to get a job, this community is for you. If you are in a job already, but you're looking to get promoted and excel in your career and you're in some change with that, this community is for you. If you are looking to, rise up and become, more of a leader and an executive and C-suite, we're for you too. So we have, the self-study part, and we also have the live part, and it's just a wonderful place to be. Everyone is so warm and welcoming and really encouraging, and it is a community of practice. So you get to not only improve your skills, but you also get to meet people who are on very similar journeys as you. And you get to interact with our expert coaches and with me and get feedback. That's so important. Remember, I don't know how many times in this call I mentioned feedback and practice as being two of the most important things. But it's so true. It's so very true. So let me see. I wanted to just share with you just a little bit about our community. Let me open that up again, since we have some interest from people in the audience. Yeah, okay, here it is. So essentially, we've got a lot going on in our community. There's something here for everybody, and it's jam-packed with value. And we've got hundreds of lessons, hundreds of sessions and guides, and then we also have all the live events each week. So you've got live content, you've got live interactive chats where you get to interact live. You've got the ability to join interest groups. This is all part of your membership, by the way, and you're going to be shocked at the membership price in a good way. It's for what you're getting. For what you're getting, it's such amazing value. So you can meet in the video calls with your interest groups. So we've got like a book club, we've got a fitness pod, we've got different social pods where you get to meet people who have similar interests as you. And this is fun, right? Obviously it's a professional development platform. There's all the professional skills development that goes on, but then we also have this kind of space where you get to have casual conversations around different interests and hobbies that you have. Book club, for example, fit club, tech club, right? So you get to talk about things that you're interested in, arts, like arts and crafts. And you get to come in and you can create your own time. So let's say you're in a time zone and there's some people in that time zone as well that can do the call. Then you can do the call, and that's on our platform. So we provide you with the ability to meet people who have similar interests as you, and you have the flexibility to create the call whatever you'd like. And it could just be with one other person, or it could be with 10 people if you want. So we've got that. We've got, of course, our web courses, our monthly challenges. We've got our short challenges and longer challenges, and we're adding new challenges as well, which is awesome. And with the challenges, there's also live components there. So that's a wonderful way to not only enhance your skills, but also hold yourself accountable, right? And say, okay, I'm going to show up to this challenge and I'm going to get the results that I want to get. And then I'm going to take those out into the real world and I'm going to use them. So in terms of pricing, $20 a month, and it's $200 for the entire year, where you save about 20%, 17% to be exact. So nice big discount. You won't regret it. And it's a great way to invest in yourself, to invest in your future. And you actually get the tools and the strategies that are really going to help you. These are tools that you can use, just like I shared lots of information and tools and strategies today that you can actually use right after this call, later today or this evening or tomorrow. In fact, they drive real impact. They drive real change. They get you from A to B to Z, all the way to Z, right? Just go to academy.explearning.co. You have lots of information there on our landing page. We've got current and past members who share their thoughts about our community and what they think, and how it's helped them. You can scan this QR code. We have an app, so you can just join us on the go and also participate in calls on the go. Maybe some of you are joining from your phones right now or your tablets. And like I said, 10 minutes a day, spend 10 minutes a day in our community. Why not? You don't have to search for any materials. We give it all to you. We create this program for you. All you have to do is show up. All you have to do is come to our lives, come to our program, do the self-study, join live as well, and just show up. Okay? If you have 10 minutes, do it for 10 minutes. If you have a whole hour, do it for a whole hour. Just show up every day. That's where you're going to see the magic. There is magic in consistency. I promise you, you will get to where you want to go if you practice every day. I promise. Okay, that's my promise to you. So in the words of one of our wonderful, lovely members, best investment, you won't regret it. So you have to think about it, right? Do you want to make this investment? If you do, if you're serious about it, this is a no-brainer, right? A no-brainer. Absolutely 100% gonna help you. So my friends, that's it for me today. Thank you for joining. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for showing up for yourself, first and foremost. And I'm so glad that we got to sit down like this together. I hope that you take these strategies with you. Watch the replay, because I know there's so much that I shared. And in the community, you will get also the guide and the slides, okay? So that you can go through it and make it part of your 10 minutes a day or 30 minutes a day. All right, the more the better, but of course, if you can be consistent, that's even better than just spending 1 hour a week. I'd much rather you spend 15, 20 minutes a day than 2 hours on one day and then not coming again for another week or two. Show up every single day, and we make that super easy in the community. Super easy. All you have to do is sign in on your phone, on your computer, on your tablet. Just sign in, show up. There's something for you to do every single day. Amazing. We do the heavy lifting for you. Just show up. All right. Well, I've talked and talked and talked for nearly an hour. So I am going to say good morning, good night, good evening, good day, and I will catch you soon. I'll see you in the community. Bye, everybody.